Welcome to the February Maythorn Monthly. Outside one of our favourite pubs, New Brighton on the Wirral. The Harvester has a view right across the sea, the Irish Sea here. We come down here for the sunset, but we don't think we're going to get much of a sunset today because we haven't had much of a sun. That's simple. So we're going to go to a place where there's loads of sun to start off with this month. Valencia. This is definitely the time of year to be in Spain, let's face it. So we're going to go to London Street. Now, London Street, I looked it up on Google Maps. It doesn't exist as a street. It's a themed area down amongst the marina. And as you can see from the pictures that I brought back, there's various bars and things around here. And there's basically a nice leisure area. Later on, I shall be taking to the tram. Well, we use the metro and the tram to get around Valencia and show you a couple of other places as well. We've taken the tram to El Cabanyal, which is one of the Valencia beaches, and this is an absolutely fantastic wide open space. The beach itself is a huge expanse with lots of sports going on. There's a big wide main promenade which people stroll along. There's a separate bike track, bicycle path, whatever you like to call it. If you've got wheels you can go on here. It looks like you can run along there too if you want. Then there's a number of other little paths, one of which goes along in front of the restaurants and bars, which is one we'll explore shortly. But first I have to look at the boat, the special fountain boat. Everybody poses in front of this, so I didn't want to miss out. Hello! And then we had a quick look at kids playing on the beach, admired the spa hotel over the hedge, and then headed for the restaurants, had some lunch and a glass of wine. Okay, it was a bottle of wine, but there were two of us. The map shows the marina at One and Up where we were staying, and we gave you a good look around this area 3 or 4 months ago when we started our tour of Western Australia. But here's some more of it. Remember the Cut? This is the local name for the Dawesville Channel. If you live around here you get a nice house to live in, and some of them are really grand. You can come along here and sail your boat or your jet ski, and you could just wander around and have a swim and all sorts of stuff like that. But fishing, no, we haven't mentioned fishing before. All along the channel where you walk along the side, there are concrete platforms sticking out into the Cut, and families and other groups of people, they come down here with their rods and they catch fish and attract seagulls. It's not always fish they catch though. This young lady definitely hasn't got a fish. Let's look also at some of the other points of this area. There's some interesting plants and trees, a lot different to what we see in Britain, so it's worth a quick swing round of the camera just to give you a look at those. And of course all this is right by the water, so you've got a great combination of the various ingredients of nature, plus you get wonderful places like the Leprechaun, that cafe restaurant place that we found right by the water, and we went for our ice creams, for our coffee and cake, and for the occasional breakfast as well. All in the outdoors with a view of the water. Fantastic. One final thing that we managed to catch on camera, and you may remember in the Caversham Wildlife Park a few months ago, a magpie attacked the back of Colette's head because she went too near the nest. Well, magpies don't care who they attack. This bird appeared to be minding its own business, just sort of foraging along the edge of the water, and in swoops the magpie.
Staying in One and Up as we were, the first journey we normally had to make was by bus up to Mandurah, and this is Mandurah interchange, where you come in on the bus. There's a big bus station here, and you go out on the train. The use of the TransPerth smart tickets allows you to travel right the way through on the bus and the train, and even on the ferry when you get to Elizabeth Quay. Elizabeth Quay has got some really tall buildings and a few other things worth photographing, and of course we've already done the trip over to South Perth on the boat. On the quay itself there's a large area which is lit from underground and also features water jets coming up into the tourist space. We watched this area a couple of times to see if the fountain started up, but obviously these local people know that it won't because they walk right through it. At night it is lit. We haven't actually found out if there's a particular timetable for the waterworks yet. So let's go on foot around this area, this aerial view to where we are. The Supreme Court Gardens, as you can see on the map, the next place we explored. They were quite interesting, certainly worth taking photographs of. And then we walked down to the quay where the ferry to Rottnest Island departs. It's one of two places it departs from. And down there's the bell tower. Now, this is quite a landmark. It's well known in the area, and there is a little bit of a story behind this. Why would you want to go in the bell tower? Here's why. There's a dozen bells in this tower, and they've been exported from St Martin in the Fields Church in Trafalgar Square, London, and they were gifted to the people of Western Australia in 1988 to commemorate the Australian bicentennial. We're back on home territory now, New Brighton on the Wirral, as you can see, and this is down by Fort Perch. Now, I've lived on the Wirral for years and never actually been in Fort Perch before, but we come down here to take pictures, and you can see why. A lot of photographers are here doing the same thing. The light can be quite spectacular at certain times of the day, and of course there's a lighthouse as a central feature, as well as some quite large liners coming up the Mersey in the background. Today, though, we go into Fort Perch.
Happiness is a warm scone. We're having coffee and scones with butter. The scones are warm, and we're in New Brighton on the Wirral. This is Fort Perch Rock, hence the historic look to the whole place. Never been in here before, and I've lived here for donkey's years, however long donkey's years happen to be, a long time. Never been in the fort. So this is a first for me, and the food and drink is excellent. Another place to visit. Put this one on the list.
This is another cafe we visited in South Wirral, the Lily Pad Cafe, and this one we had breakfast in. And one of the features here is that the view from inside as you eat and drink is outside to the lake. We know it's the lake because it says so. Now, in the days when I had my own pond and my own koi carp, I used to come to this place a lot, and the part of the centre here that is selling all the fish is closed for the winter, but there's an indoor pet shop and there's a few things to look at outside in the grounds. Back in Western Australia, and this is the centre of Mandurah. It's the Forum, big huge shopping centre, loads of places to eat. I got my phone contract here, but we were at Pyramid Beach a fair bit as well because it's right by where Colette and her family live. Now, this was actually filmed on the last day we had in Australia. We were due to go to the airport a few hours after this, and so I was doing the last few things I could, including running a test on a new camera that I bought, which I had wonderful vision of using a lot in Australia because there's lots of water and stuff like that. Of course, I'd actually forgotten that I'm not that good in water, so it didn't get a lot of use. But the DJI Action 2 gets its first use in just a moment.
So this is Pyramid Beach in Western Australia. I'm on my one-man band camera operation at the moment with a little DJI Pocket 2 sitting on a tripod that comes with it, talking to you with the wireless mic that comes with it. The technology that I've got now means I can film anywhere, and this beach, Pyramid Beach, is the nearest beach to where our family live, and I've just given them the DJI Action 2 action camera. It's waterproof, so my stepdaughter Colette is going to take it into the surfing waves and stand there with it and see if she can avoid getting knocked over, just to see how waterproof it is. So that was taken on the DJI Action 2. As you can see, slightly confusing sound and pictures because Colette was just standing there and the waves were hitting her. What she really needed to do, if they were in the right place, would be to dive down and swim with the fishes, because that would produce us some great pictures. I can't swim, so I'm looking for a volunteer. Anybody put their hand up? So this is the kind of Brian's Bits thing. There's a number of little items I've got for you today. First of all, it's Chester Market. Now, Chester Market used to be by the Town Hall Square. It was getting on a bit, the roof leaked, and it was due for demolition some time ago, as was the old bus station, which was also alongside the market. So we have pictures of that from a few years ago. It took its time getting redeveloped. They moved the bus station down onto the ring road, which created far less traffic problems, seemed the ideal place. And they put the market in the new, I think it was called the Northgate Quarter, because everything is quartered these days. So if you now go into the Northgate Quarter and have a look at Chester Market, you will see it's changed quite a lot. So Chester Market, we'll go back there in better weather when it's all finished and people are sitting outdoors, and the atmosphere should be slightly different. Keep meaning to show you the souvenirs I brought back from Australia. We're pretty much at the end of our trip now with the videos I'm bringing you. You may remember an early one where we went to a crystal shop. Colette bought Ruth and I a little ornament. This is one of them, and then there's a switch on the bottom. This wasn't clear to us when we were in the shop, but it does actually light up and it changes colour, and it's very pretty indeed, and we keep it on the mantelpiece here. So there's another one the other end. We're no longer sure which one's mine, which one's Ruth's, but the same sort of thing. It's daylight now. These look much better at night, as you may imagine. I also have a tiny little present which you can hardly see from when we went on the Hotham Valley Railway. Colette bought me a little engine. Turn it the right way up. It's a souvenir hat badge. I don't wear hats, but the Australians do wear a lot of them, so I guess that's a little more relevant to them. There's a few other things up there which have no importance right now. It just shows you what this is for, this hearth, because we're living in a one-bedroom flat. We have no chimneys in this building at all, and yet we've got a fireplace out of the lamp. And I can't persuade anyone to let me get rid of it because they all like it. It's here to stay, I guess. This picture is another memory for us. During lockdowns, we were still living in Higher Kinnerton in Flintshire. Remember the days when you were only allowed to go for a walk 1 mile from your house and 1 hour a day at the most? That's where we went. Higher Kinnerton has a disused railway line, and this picture reminds us of those horrible times when we were imprisoned in our own homes. Really was bad news. About this time last year, we were down at New Brighton having a coffee, and the Wetherspoons that had closed down was in the process of being knocked through to the pub next door. And at the time, there was a sign up saying completion August 2022. Well, now we're virtually in March 2023, and it's not only not finished, it's not even there anymore. The building next door was obviously totally unstable, so if you go there now, you'll just see a building site. Which could probably work out for the best. I've heard developers say that often it's easier to start from the ground up than try and rebuild something old. So that's what will happen, and there is no opening date anymore for Wetherspoons. Maybe it'll be August 2023, but that all depends. And finally, we're going to focus on Bulgaria for a little bit because my throat's going. I seem to have got one of the dreaded lurgies that's going around. So we're going to go to Bulgaria, where Colin, as we catch him here, is flying his drone over the village and over his house. There's some other things that I'd like to show you, including some of my own footage from last year that you never got to see. And next month I shall be there again, so Colin and I will be there together in Oris, Bulgaria, and we'll have more from there next month. But this is what we've got for now.
I told you last month that Colin was reporting back from Bulgaria saying that the food caravan that we'd found was being properly sort of fenced in a yard with a roof over it. So while he was in Orish this month, he took a shot of that, so we'll explore that a little better in our visit next month, but that's what it looks like now. Moving on to Levski, a place that I changed trains at when I was coming up from Sofia by train. And the Levski you're seeing now, courtesy of Colin, he was there a week or two ago and he had a quick walk around the town itself, which I've never seen. Now, the footage from last year that I mentioned, this is the hotel overlooking Aleko Square in Svishtov. This is the hotel room I had. I think it cost me about £50 for the week, and as you can see, it has everything I need here. The room has a kitchenette which has a microwave and a fridge, and of course there's a double bed which I only needed half of, a decent bathroom with a wet room style shower. And here's the event that I saw the school kids rehearsing for last year. I actually did go along to the finished event, but it's the same song that they sang at the rehearsal. But I thought you might like to see all the crowds in the square and the sort of community support they got for this.
This is one final return to the campsite area near Marina D'Or and the Christina courtyard where we used to sit under the trees here and keep cool. Well, this time of year there's no leaves, but we still made a call in here, and this is still our favourite area because it has a really wide beach to walk along and you can paddle in the sea and just not a lot of people about, so it's a great place to be. Just across the road there you may be able to see a shop with my name on it. It's a barber's shop, and after what happened to me last time I went to a barber's, I'm going to keep away from that. Going to take you to Bunbury Farmers Market. Now, Bunbury is a place in Cheshire, not far from here, well, an hour or so, but this Bunbury is in Western Australia and the largest fruit and veg market we've ever seen. And if you ever say I couldn't get the vegetable or fruit of my choice here, then you obviously weren't looking hard enough.
So we're back with the maps. Bunbury is down the bottom there. Zoom in a little bit. you'll see Lake Clifton. It's quite big, and we've got a fair bit of it to show you. Both Phil and I flew our drones over this area. Phil's the one who flies really high up, and he got some really big overall shots right out from the Indian Ocean across onto the lake. And I took the more grounded shots and some of the stuff at low level. I don't know if you remember me mentioning that so many of the places in this part of Australia end in up. Well, at this point we're in the Yalgarup National Park, and the interesting thing about Lake Clifton is the Thrombolite reef. It's, they say, a glimpse of what life was like when the Earth began. If you look at the rock-like formations that you'll see in some of the shots, scientists believe that these Thrombolites, as they're called, are one of the first life forms on Earth, and they're dating back approximately 570 million years. It's even older than me. And they made oxygen, apparently. They produced oxygen, and that made all the subsequent life possible. That's an interesting theory, and certainly one it's worth to go and have a look at. The Lake Clifton Thrombolites are about 2,000 years old. Again, seem to be older than me. Who knew? They're the largest in the southern hemisphere. So there you are. They put this boardwalk out so you can effectively walk across over the top of them and look down into them. And they're supposed to be living things. I think somebody said they're like living fossils. So very interesting indeed, even though it's fairly stagnant.
Well, here we are on a sunny day and a bit of a frog in my throat at the moment, just getting over a cold. This is Crosby Coastal Park. Now Crosby, Liverpool is the place where I grew up and went to school, and we're just coming for a brief visit back here with Alan, who I met at that time. Alan's holding the camera, and I've just come down here to have some lunch. So there's a place up there called Waterloo Sunset. There's a good reason for that, because this part of Crosby, the borough of Crosby, is Waterloo. So Waterloo it is, and if we carry on a little bit further along the coast there, you'll come to the Gormley statues, which we have featured before, but maybe another visit is due soon. So I'm going to say goodbye from this month's video. We're going to go and eat. See you next month.